uniform the other night, and then comes in and ends up playing, close to 20 minutes, and that was probably his best game of the season. Not just because he scored, but I mean the offensive rebounds were huge. He was very consistent in executing our pick and roll coverages. So excited for both those guys that they had big time games for us.
JJ, I asked you about the supporting cast pregame, and Max comes out, has a career high 28 points, career high 5 threes made. What did you see from him tonight offensively?
Yeah, I'll start with the beginning of the game. I thought our defensive spirit and our physicality, which is something that we really emphasize pregame, it was one of those things where you're just kind of trading baskets. We're generating good looks. We missed some shots. We had to give up a 31-point quarter. Didn't think his first run was good in terms of his defensive disposition. He also took 2 mid-range shots, and I wanted to really break his neck, just. And when he got back in the game, I thought his career night started with changing the disposition on defense. And the other thing is, we talked about him developing as an initiator for the offense because we're down a ball handler right now. We probably had 10 to 12 possessions where he had to bring it up, including some possessions late game. There were 2 close calls, but he didn't have any turnovers on those plays. I thought that was big. Again, for him and his development, just getting him in these situations, I think is huge. I think you guys know how much I believe in Max, and just happy. He's been building now for several weeks, and he had a 3-game stretch around Christmas, and then to come back tonight and have his career high is just awesome.
JJ, without AD, obviously guys knew they had to do more, but when did you really see it kind of from LeBron? Was it simply shot making that sort of propelled him, or and what did you make of his night?
Yeah, I mean, he did it in a number of ways. I like when he's a willing 3-point shooter. We showed one clip from Cleveland the other night where we created an advantage and he got a kick-out pass and dribbled and ended up swinging to the corner and ended up being a dead possession for us. So we want him aggressive, shot ready from 3 just as much as we want him aggressive to get downhill and put pressure on the rim. He's just fantastic. There was a couple possessions where even before they cut it to 4, it was 8, 9, whatever, and because of their switching and us playing small and not having AD out there, there was a couple possessions that seemed like they were dead possessions, and then he just bailed us out. So just another 38-point game for LeBron.
JJ, we talked to you earlier in the season about Dalton, and you said something along the lines of, at some point, you have confidence it's just going to click, and then he'll kind of take off from there. Max is younger than Dalton, but he's in year 3, and you alluded to the stretch he's kind of been in. Is this it kind of clicking for him? Is that what you're seeing for him? And could this be him entering into a different phase of his career before our very eyes?
Yeah, I don't have any expectations with Max as it relates to scoring right now. I think that part of his game will continue to develop both on and off the ball. I know all guys want to score, and it's not to say that he can't have nights like this, but I think again, I'll use my own experience. You have to learn how to be a pro, and by that I mean you have to learn how to do the same things every night to the point where you're reliable and the coach can't take you off the court. And that's where the growth I've seen from Max over the last 6 to 8 weeks.
I asked you about this after the Golden State game. Tonight was the 5th time this season you guys have taken at least 43s. 2 of those times came without AD playing at all. The other time was the Golden State game where he only played 7 minutes. Do you feel like there's a formula for you guys to be a higher volume 3-point shooting team like we talked about but also I guess having him, obviously one of the best players in the world, having him also available.
Yeah, you've got to find the balance. You know, we're trying to do more. And I was thinking about your question. It was a very thoughtful question pregame about our pick and rolls going up, and I was thinking about it some more. And I think one of the things that we've probably done less of, actually I know we've done less of, is just our wedge punch action. You know, and partially it was, we got really lazy with our spacing. We got lazy with our screening angles, and you know, he's catching the ball at 19 feet in a butter situation. It just wasn't good for us to do that, and we really want to have AD being dynamic and playing on the move. That's where we think he really has an advantage. And it's not to say we haven't posted him, because we have, but when we can play fast with space, you know, that generally leads to a higher 3-point volume. So we're always going to try to find that balance.
Coach, back here. And earlier in his career, Max was back and forth between here and South Bay. When you got here, what were things that you identified with him that have allowed him to be able to contribute at this level?
I would say Dan's not going to be happy about this, but I'm going to reference Mind the Game. And the very first episode, I talked about what I think a good basketball player is, and it's not a bag. It's love of the game. It's the care factor. It's competitiveness. It's basketball IQ. And being around Max for most of the summer, that stuff jumps off the charts. And so when you have that inherently, as a coach, you just want to pour into him. And you know, it's not to say that I haven't held him accountable, because I have, but I'm also willing to live with some growth mistakes from him. Just like I am with Dalton, and you know, when Bronny's in the rotation, I'll be the same way. It's all our young guys. You know, you've got to be willing to live with some mistakes and allow them to grow. But you know, if you have those characteristics, it makes me want to pour into you.
You can talk about your podcast whenever. Totally good with it. Portland has like some defenders that on paper would present challenges for a player like Austin. The types of guys that have given him some issues, athleticism, length. How did you think he navigated that? And did you see a more distribution mindset from him?
Well, he got 15 jacks up, you know, which is probably just above season average. I think early on, I told Mike this at halftime, it's a sign of respect that Kamara started the game on him and not on LeBron. And you know, Austin has really been, as much as LeBron has been awesome, Austin's been like an engine for us recently. You know, I think coming into the night, you know, he was averaging 22 a game, 8 assists, 6 rebounds on like 50-45 splits since he came back from injury. And so I told him earlier, I was like, you don't have to like bring the ball up every time. Let somebody else do that. Like, don't you know, waste your energy. I thought he had some good looks, you know, from 3, and then he was just, you know, like he normally is, just very dynamic, both on and off the ball, which created advantages, and he made a lot of terrific reads tonight and got his teammates really good shots.
Let's go.